G'day everyone, Rune here, and this is chapter 15 of my What If Ash Met Meowth First series. In the last chapter, we saw Brock gain a new Pokemon and his old Jigglypuff evolve into a Wigglytuff. We then watched Ash's rematch against Erica, which resulted in him earning his own Rainbow Badge. With Ash and Misty now having the same amount of badges, they continue their journey, accidentally getting caught in the middle of a police exercise, and then watching Team Rocket make one of the biggest and most amusing blunders of their careers. This is where the next chapter begins. During their journey to Cinnabar, Ash and Co decide to stop for lunch at a little stream. While everyone is happily munching away at their rice balls, Ash spots something in the tall grass. It's reflecting the light like it's made of glass. Setting his rice ball down for a moment, he calls over to Wigglytuff. Once he's got her attention, he asks her to sing a song for them while subtly motioning to the others to cover their ears. Nodding with a smile, Wigglytuff takes a deep breath and sings. Once she's done, Murkrow claps his wings, while Ash walks over to the tall grass and everyone else uncovers their ears. Just as Misty is about to ask Ash why he had Wigglytuff sing, he emerges from the grass dragging a stranger with a camera behind him. A few minutes later, the stranger wakes up to find himself in the middle of the group, with one very unhappy Ash glaring down at him. Not taking his eyes off the photographer, Ash demands to know who he is and why he was spying on them. A little insulted at the accusation, the boy introduces himself as Todd, a master Pokemon photographer. He insists that he wasn't spying on them, and that really, Ash should feel honoured that Todd would even want to take a photo of him, Pikachu, and Meowth. Clicking his tongue in irritation, Ash tells him that being photoed without consent is not a compliment. It's creepy and a breach of privacy, and if Todd can't understand that, he doesn't deserve to be called a master anything. Wanting to prove Ash wrong, Todd takes them to his cabin where he shows them his photo of Aerodactyl. Here, due to the different circumstances of the event, the picture doesn't just include Aerodactyl with Ash in its claws, but Gary preparing to catch it. Seeing this, Ash immediately realizes when this photo was taken. This excites Todd as he'd known that there were two trainers that had confronted Aerodactyl and had wanted to interview them to get the whole story of how they found the Pokemon. But after he'd taken his photo, he hadn't been able to find either of them. He pulls out a notepad and pen out of Hammerspace and asks Ash for the whole story, which Ash somewhat begrudgingly obliges, telling the story straight up and not sugarcoating anything. A little later, when Todd attempts to take a photo of Ash, Pikachu, and Meowth again, he's electrocuted by an extremely camera-shy Pikachu, eliciting laughs from both Ash and Meowth. When Todd explains his reasons for not wanting the Pokemon in his photos to be posing, Ash suggests that maybe Todd should take a photo of the three of them training. At Todd's confusion, Ash explains that when they get into the zone of training, everything else just becomes white noise. It might be the only way to get past Pikachu's camera shyness. Todd is grateful for this suggestion, but he was hoping for a more domestic picture. Ash asks what's so important about him taking a photo of him, Pikachu, and Meowth. It didn't look like Todd had taken many photos of trainers, and Meowth and Pikachu aren't the only members of his family. They're not even the only members out of their Pokeballs anymore, since he now has Togepi too. Todd isn't really able to give him an answer, which Ash finds suspicious, but he doesn't think it's because Todd is planning anything sinister. So he sighs and tells Todd that he can keep trying if he really wants, but he doesn't think Todd's going to have any luck. While Todd tracks the group down the road, he remembers back to when he was given this commission. He had been approached by an elderly couple with a Porygon who told him about their grandson whom they hadn't seen since he was a baby. They'd given their grandson a special talking Meowth and a powerful Pikachu to watch over and protect him when they weren't around. But after a falling out with his mother over a foolish mistake, they'd been forbidden from seeing him. They just wanted to see their grandson and the Pokemon they gave him so long ago, happy and playing together one last time before they go. While Todd thinks it would be far simpler for them to simply approach their grandson themselves or try to talk to the boy's mother, he guesses that they want to respect the daughter-in-law's wishes, or maybe they don't feel like they deserve to approach him after whatever it is they did. He had to get the perfect photo of Ash and his Pokemon. He had to show the old couple that their grandson was living a good, happy life with the Meowth and Pikachu they gave him. From there, it's a montage of Todd attempting to get the perfect photo of Ash, Pikachu, and Meowth, and it either being ruined by him being loud, Ash needing to rush off to stop Togepi from getting into trouble, or Pikachu just being camera shy. When Ash and Co fall into Team Rocket's pit, Todd is just able to capture a photo of Ash, Togepi, Pikachu, and Meowth, with Meowth and Pikachu checking on Ash while Ash checks on Togepi. He's just about to ask Ash to hand Togepi over to Misty or Brock when he notices the cracks spreading in the bricks under Ash. Just as the bricks begin to give way, Ash quickly tosses Togepi over to Misty so that he doesn't get hurt. Togepi cries out in fear as he sees his papa fall through the floor with his Uncle Pikachu still in Ash's bag. Quickly, both Todd and Meowth jump down through the hole, running after Ash and Pikachu. Seeing the waterfall at the end of the tunnel, Todd holds out his camera and tripod for Ash to grab onto. While Ash hangs there, he tells Pikachu to climb up to safety, which he does with some help from Meowth. It is at this point that Team Rocket show up, and the moment Ash hears the beginning of the all-too-familiar motto, he groans. Oh, brother. Don't they know when to quit? Todd demands to know why Team Rocket tricked him, to which they tell him that he tricked them. They'd wanted him to capture Ash and his Pokemon, and not take their picture. They pull out a giant net and are just about to swing it to capture Ash when he detaches Todd's camera from the tripod and aims it at them. This promise of a photo distracts Team Rocket just long enough for Todd to pull him the rest of the way up. With his feet now firmly on the ground, Ash sends out Fearow to chase Rocket away with their incessant pecking. With Rocket now dealt with, Brock and Misty finally arrive, with the latter carrying a very distressed Togepi. Climbing up to them quickly, Ash takes Togepi, immediately trying to calm him. With that, Todd joins the group as they continue on their journey. Now, I was originally going to include the ultimate test, as it would have been such a fun little episode to experiment and show off how smart and competitive Ash is, while also showing how much better of a trainer Misty has become. But then I found out that it's not a test you have to do in order to be registered as a participant on top of winning badges, but is an alternative option like the trainer school. I am sad. So let's skip it and move right along to the breeding center secret. Taking a break in a big city, the group soon see an ad for a new breeding center. This perks both Misty and Ash's curiosity, and they decide to check it out. Seeing how popular the center is, Misty gets an idea. Walking up to the front desk, she asks the blonde-haired woman that seems to be managing the center if she can leave one of her Pokemon here for just the afternoon. The woman smiles and eagerly tells Misty that they'd be more than happy to pamper and treat one of her Pokemon for the day. Curious, Ash asks Misty which Pokemon she's planning on leaving here, to which she says Psyduck, explaining that he's been putting so much work into getting stronger lately that it started making his headaches worse. She wants to give him a treat to relax. With one final hug, she hands Psyduck over to the woman. We'll be back in about an hour. 2 hours at most. Leaving the center, they all decide to find some lunch, leading them to a restaurant with an all-you-can-eat buffet. When they're told what they need to do to get the free food, Misty is about to bring out Pokemon when Ash stops her and says that there's a much simpler and easier way to do this. Turning to the chef, he asks what the man's favourite Pokemon is, to which the man pulls out a photo of a Psyduck, causing Ash to burst out laughing at the irony. This earns him a playful punch to the arm from Misty before they all start running back to the centre. While they run, Todd asks if they think the centre will still be open, to which Ash points out that Misty had said they'd be back soon, so it only makes sense that they'd still be there. To their shock, however, they arrive to find a closed sign on the door. Ash frowns worriedly at this. It's weird that they'd be closed this early in the day, and the woman hadn't said anything about closing time being soon when Misty said that they'd be back in 1 to 2 hours. He wonders if something's happened and suggests that they find a side entrance. Finding the side door, Ash knocks, calling out and asking if anyone's there and if anything is wrong. When there's no answer, he tries the doorknob to find that it's unlocked. That's not concerning at all. Searching the building, they soon find the room of caged Pokemon. Seeing this, Ash asks Meowth to ask the Pokemon if they know what's going on. They soon find out that this is a Team Rocket operation, with the two people they met being rocket operatives. Confused, Misty says that the man and woman looked and sounded nothing like Jessie and James, and she hasn't seen a hint of Porygon anywhere. Ash reminds her that the Team Rocket they've been consistently dealing with aren't the only ones, reminding her of what happened on the SS Anne. Waking up his X-Transceiver, Ash calls Gary, hastily telling him to keep his voice down when he answers. Ash tells him the situation and what address he needs to send the police to. Once Gary has hung up, Ash turns to Todd and asks him to start taking pictures for evidence before turning to Meowth. Now would be a great time for one of your big ideas, Chatterbox. Just as Todd gets all the pictures they need, the Team Rocket that they know shows up and, in typical form, gets them caught. And, as in canon, Ash and Co end up getting caught in a cage while trying to escape. However, this time, when Butch and Cassidy approach them, Meowth lets out a loud whistle. There's a moment of silence, then a loud rumbling echoes from the way they'd just come, getting louder and louder with each second. Within moments, a stampede of Pokemon come barreling around the corner, knocking Butch and Cassidy to the ground and surrounding them. Ash grins, complimenting Meowth on his work with the cage locks. It's at this exact moment that the police arrive with Gary. Cassidy attempts to get the police to arrest Ash and his friends, saying that they were attempting to steal the center's Pokemon, only for Gary to tell them to pipe down. The police then explain that Gary had already informed them of what was really happening, and that Ash's friend would be supplying photographic evidence. Plus, the way the Pokemon were acting towards them and the fact that they were currently wearing Team Rocket uniforms wasn't helping their case. After they are released from the cage, Ash thanks Gary for getting the police so quickly, to which Gary responds that he's glad that the X-Transceiver ended up coming in handy after all. After enjoying a well-earned free meal, Ash and his friends say goodbye to Todd and Gary as Todd heads to the mountains and Gary takes a flying route to his next badge. Ash offers to let Gary travel with them since he's heading to his next gym badge too, but Gary declines, saying that he doesn't want a sneak peek of Ash's battle style before their league match. And that, everyone, is where I'm going to leave the story for now. Join me next time as the teams celebrate 2 holidays and finally make it to Cinnabar. I'm Rune. See you next chapter.